Okay, let's talk about marketing. Now, marketing really is just a synonym for outgoing communications with your client base. And the ultimate goals of that marketing or outgoing communications are to generate loyalty to you because there's many places they can get Cutco now, right? They can buy from another rep, they can buy at an event, they can buy at Costco, they can order online, they can go to a Cutco store. There's so many things, right? So you want them loyal to you and contacting you when they think of Cutco. So that's goal one. Goal two is to generate more activity, whatever type of activity that is, which we'll discuss later when we talk about the different types of marketing you can do and what that can lead to. So I think really when it comes to when you're deciding whether or not you want to do marketing or how much you want to be involved in it or with it, any of that kind of stuff, I think mostly it comes down to you really deciding what kind of business you want to have and how much effort you want to put in, and then seeing how marketing fits into your plan for that. The reason is because you can be successful in Cutco without marketing, but I think when you consider the effort to sales ratio, how much effort it takes to create a sale, right? I think generally, if you think back to when you were new, like how much effort it takes, and you have to like make calls and set appointments and do demos and close the sale, and you're building your skills and you're asking referrals and you're making more calls, you're doing all these things. Even when you move into service and events and different things like that, like even events, like if all you did was events, right? It's still a good amount of work. You're packing your booth into your car and you're driving to the event and you're unpacking it and you're there all day. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that the reason that Josh, for example, when Josh and I started doing this all those years ago, the reason is because generally, if you go out there into the world and read about, acquisition costs for clients, right? Generally, it costs less. Like it's more profitable to get repeat sales from clients you've already put the effort into acquiring than it is to go out there and acquire new clients. Now, we're not suggesting you don't do that. The fastest way to build the Cutco business is to do both, to continue generating new clients while you're also maximizing the client list you already have. So when I speak about, effort to sales ratio, generally the idea is it feels a little bit more passive, the sales that you get from repeat clients. You've already done a lot of the hard work. You've already gotten that lead. You've already done that appointment or met them at the, booth at the event, whatever it is. You've already explained everything. You've already closed the sale. You've gotten them, like, right? You got at least enough trust from them to get that initial order. So you've gotten them on your side a little bit, like they're getting to know you a little bit. So to take it from there to just getting additional sales is so much easier than to start that process all over again with a new client. And again, you should be doing both, of course, but that's where, and I say that you should be doing both. Let me take that word back. Should ideally do both, right? Because then you're building your business faster and you're maximizing the effort you already put in to get the first clients when you're using marketing for repeat sales. But it's your choice, right? It depends on if you want more of that, what feels a little bit more like passive sales. It's not completely passive, right? But if you want more of the ones that seem a little bit easier on the marketing to your client side, then you want to implement marketing. If you're the kind of person where you're like, I don't want to do any of that, all I want to do is focus on generating new business. I don't mind the effort to sales ratio, right? I'll work as hard as I need to work, any of that, then maybe you don't need to do marketing. That's up to you. I'm not saying that you have to do it, but I will tell you that it's made a huge impact on the business, right? So client marketing is just one more layer of the business. Last year at Net, Brandon Brown was part of the $1 Million Sales Panel. And one thing he said during that panel was that every single rep in the Cutco business who has sold $1 million or more in a year has multiple layers in their business. Nobody is doing it with just one layer. Well, I would say that, except that now Rob Robincheck is actually doing it. He's selling $1 million in business gift business a year. But by the way, most of that, like he's selling more than 1 million. I think he did over 1.5 million. I can't remember the totals from last year, but I think more than 1 million of that was repeat business to his client list. So I guess if you consider the repeat business as an additional layer, then even Robincheck is working with at least two or I know he does more things, by the way. He still works residential events and does past customer marketing to his residential business, all that stuff. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but it sounds like even if all he did was business gifts and repeat business gifts, he would still be selling $1 million, right? But the point is, marketing is just another layer in your business. What I love about marketing as a layer is that if you're doing it well, you're successful at marketing to your clients, it actually can have a positive impact on all of the other layers of your business, whether that's service, business gifts, realtor, events, like whatever it is, federal, right? Everybody that we work with consistently who does all of those layers, they use marketing for all of those layers. Okay. So it can have a really positive impact in multiple ways. So here are the goals of marketing, right? The goals are, one, we want them to contact you. I mentioned that before, but you basically want to be the Cutco contact in their mind, right? So that anytime they have any thought about Cutco, that they're reaching out to you about it and not just trying to like, I'll just search online, see if I can find Cutco, who knows, like whatever, right? You want them to just know they're reaching out to you. Also, even if they weren't planning on, because like that's like people who just come up with the idea on their own. Oh, we have a wedding coming up. You know what might be good? Cutco. Do we know who our Cutco person is? Who's that person we bought Cutco from? Right? Like you want them reaching out to you. But then even when it wasn't their idea, the second goal of marketing is to generate interest, right? To create that activity that maybe wouldn't have been there otherwise. The third goal of marketing is that you want to give them value, right? You want them to feel like you do enough for them that they want to reciprocate. It's a psychological phenomenon, the reciprocation effect, right? If they feel like you've actually given them a lot of value, then when the time comes and you make an ask, whether that's for a referral or for an order or whatever it is, a testimonial, they're more likely to respond because that reciprocation effect kicks in and they want to help you out too, right? The next goal is that basically to keep their attention, right? You're providing enough value to them that they're interested enough to pay attention to what you're doing. So that way, when you do make an ask, at least their eyes are on it. And again, I'll get into that a little bit more later. But the last goal I've written down here is you want to get to a point where you only need a small percentage of your client list to be responding to any marketing you do for you to hit the results that you want to hit, right? That's where it gets really exciting. So let's look at some numbers. I'm going to screen share really quick, and I want to show you some numbers to consider. Okay, so I went through some numbers for different events, just to give you an idea of how past customer business can have a positive effect on even your event sales, right? Your event success. Beyond the fact that just having past customers at an event can be really helpful, like whether that's generating activity at your booth, like they're there talking to you, it draws more people in, whether they're there to be that person giving the testimonial to the person that walks up, someone new walks up and you're talking to them, and then a past customer walks up and you're like, how long have you had yours? 30 years? What do you think? Tell them what you think about Cutco, whatever it is, right? All that stuff, whether it's getting more business because they're buying again when they come to you, whether it's just getting their information on a drawing ticket or something like that so that you can update their email, phone number, zip code, any of that stuff in your CRM. Like there's so many positive reasons to have past customers at your event. I have had people send us testimonials after we've helped market to an event for them saying, if we hadn't had that marketing and the past customers come into that event, I, would have sold next to nothing. Like the past customer saved my event, which isn't always the case. Generally, it's more new business with some added past customer business, but that's not always the case. Sometimes doing a great job with past customer marketing, and like it doesn't always happen immediately. It's like over time, building that loyalty with multiple customers and excitement and attention and activity and getting them in can have a huge impact. I'm going to show you some of these numbers. So you can see here for Missouri State Fair this year, right? When you add up past customer business reported by reps and the ROR, because ROR is also past customer business. It's just a past customer walking up to rep A because they're rep B's customer, right? And rep A is writing up for rep B, but it's still past customers generally. Very, very rarely is it a referral that happens once in a while too, but generally it's past customer business. So that's where these numbers come from. So past customer and ROR total for Missouri State Fair this year was 38,000. The total sales was 116, which means past customer sales were 32.6% of that event's business this year, right? Wisconsin State Fair, 448,000 in past customer and ROR out of 422 total. That's 35% of their business that year was from past customers at Wisconsin State Fair. If you look at Minnesota State Fair, here we go. Minnesota State Fair, 209 grand out of 379 grand in total sales. That's 55% of their sales at that event this year were from past customers. Think about if they hadn't had past customer marketing going out or past customers coming in, right? They could have sold 379 grand total. I'm sorry, they could have sold 100 and whatever grand total instead of the 379. That is a huge difference. Huge difference. Okay. And you can see they actually had growth in that area this year too. They have more past customer sales this year than they did last year. Iowa State Fair, 298,000 of the 646 was past customers. That's 46%. They also had a small growth in their past customer business this year at that event. TGP fairs, this is last year. We're still in the midst of this at the moment, so I don't have the totals for 2024, but for 2023, they sold 2.4 million total across the 3 fairs that they do, and almost 1 million of that was past customer business, 41%. And it ranged, like one of the events was 35%, one of the events was 50%. So it just depended on the event, but overall across those 3 fairs, 41% in past customer sales. We'll talk more about their requirements too in a minute. North Dakota State Fair, look at this one. 108 out of 174,000, 62% of their sales at this fair this year were from past customers. 30% sales growth in past customers, by the way, over the previous year at that event. Good job, North Dakota State Fair. New York State Fair, 196 out of 547, that's 36%. They also had a 35% sales growth in past customer business that year. And then Erie, same team, essentially same team, not exactly the same team, but a lot of the same people work those 2 events, New York and Erie. 138 out of 311, so 44% past customer sales at that event, and 34% sales growth in past customer sales this year over last year. And then I want to show you this because this is a little bit older because I haven't had a chance to do this since 2021. At the end of 2021, I had reached out to some of these reps to find out what their numbers were so I could put this together. And so if you look at this is not just event sales, this is overall sales. So for 2021, you can see Brandon Brown sold a total of 780K that year. 338,000 of it was past customer business. Josh sold 902, 687,000 was past customer business. Repeat business. Those are synonyms. Past customer business, repeat business, same thing, right? Last year, 2023, Josh sold over 1,700,000 some thousand was past customer business. 2021, Seth sold 911, 500 grand was past customer. Mike Dowd sold 1,700,000 grand was past customer. Curtis sold 1.2, 600,000 was past customer. Robin Check sold 1.3 that year. I already told you some of his numbers, I think, in this last year. He's already over 1 million in past customer business now per year, but this year it was 1.3 million total sales, 850K in repeat business. So can past customer business have a huge impact on your overall business? Yes, absolutely. The answer to that question is yes, absolutely. But does it just come by just like throwing an email out there once in a while or whatever? No, it does not. It takes a little bit more than that, which I'm going to go through with you so that you have some idea of what to consider as you're implementing marketing into your business. So imagine if, this is where I think part of why when Josh started getting really excited about working with the past customers and seeing the results that could happen all those years ago, we were like, what if you could get to a point where you could choose to work or not work on any date or on any layer of the business from anywhere in the world and still achieve the results you want? I mean, imagine that. If you could get your repeat sales to a place, especially if you could get your phoning, right? Your email, text, phoning, like sitting at home or sitting on a beach somewhere, talking to customers, repeat sales to a place where, let's say that you'd be totally comfortable selling 500 grand a year and having that all be repeat business where you could do it from anywhere in the world. The way to get to that point in your business is to implement these strategies, develop that customer relationship with yourself so that you can do that. I mean, that is something that you can do in the future if you really wanted to and you implement the right strategies. So let's talk about how you would do that. Number one, you got to build your sales skills, of course, because no matter what you're doing, whether you're working events, doing demos, doing service, federal, business, realtor, whatever it is, you still got to be really good at selling Cutco, right? So learn all those scripts, internalize, implement, change it for you, like whatever it is. I can't remember the mantra, but do that stuff, right? Develop your skills so you can step into any part of your business and maximize each interaction. Number two is think in terms of lifetime customer value, right? Long-term. The way you speak to customers should be coming from a place where you're talking about lifetime customer value, a relationship for years to come, right? You start learning to develop that in your verbiage and how you speak to people and how you think and all that kind of stuff. Number three, earn the perspective from the clients, right? Earn the perspective of your clients that you are a trusted and helpful Cutco rep and that they are always better off communicating with you than any other person in Cutco, right? Or any other way of communicating with Cutco. You want them to really be tied into you. Number four, communicate with them consistently, right? And let them know when you get that first order, let them know you're going to be doing that. Like there should be something at the end of every interaction that sets them up, right? Pre-frames how they should expect to hear from you moving forward. So a lot of people that are on our monthly program are saying to them like, hey, once a month, you're going to be getting a newsletter from me by email. There's going to be lots of great stuff in there about Cutco. It's not sales related at all. It's just to help you get better, like learning how to use your Cutco, what the different pieces are for. We want to help you maximize the investment you've already made. Right. And then they go through the like a few times a year when it goes on sale, I'll let you know. If we're going to be in your area for sharpening, I'll let you know. But that's how I'm going to keep in touch with you, is by email and text mostly. Something like that. Like, and you just say whatever's true for you. If that's not true for you, then change it to what is true for you. And number 5, be great at customer service, right? Reply to them quickly when they reach out, be appreciative, be knowledgeable, be understanding, be friendly, be helpful. Just be great at taking care of your customers. If you want to develop that loyalty, if you want them to want to talk to you, then you have to be a person they want to talk to, right? Be helpful, be understanding, be friendly, be appreciative. All those things really make a difference. Now, when we're talking about marketing, here are the different channels you can use to communicate with customers. One is email, text, calling, voice drops, which voice drops are like a pre-recorded voicemail that gets delivered to their phone in mass. So like you can send out 1,000 at a time instead of, calling one by one. So that was the 4th one. Direct mail, and then social media. Now I will see right now, social media is generating the least results. I'm not saying it's not generating any results. There are a few reps out there doing a great job with it, but it takes a lot of dedication and consistency. It takes a while to build that following. So it probably is the slowest one to build and get results from. Not that you can't do it, just don't put all your eggs in the social media basket and do nothing else. I don't think that is going to get you the results you want as quickly as you want. Okay. Why use more than one channel? Here's why. 1, because you don't have all of the information for every single person in one channel. Like you may not have everybody's working email. You may not have everybody's working mobile text number. You may not have everybody's working address. Like, since you don't have everything for everybody, sending all the multiples out means you're going to hit more people with that marketing, right? So that's one reason. The other thing is the more times they see it, the more likely they are to take action. That's just been the case since the beginning of time, as far as I can tell, of like marketing and advertising and all that kind of stuff. So we still have, but when we first started doing this, right, and being really consistent with it, that's where we would have customers come up to Josh at the booth and say, wow, you have one of the smartest marketing systems I've ever seen. Like, I got your postcard one day, I got your email another day, I got your voicemail another day, or a call or whatever it was, right? They're just like, I'm getting everything. Of course I knew to come to this event and see you, right? But people they weren't mad about it. They actually would come up and say, that's so brilliant. We've actually had customers ask us if we could do marketing for them, which at the moment we say no, because we don't have the capacity for that. We're busy enough just helping the Cutco community. So anyway, next reason why to do more than one channel is you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You never know what's going to happen with technology. The same way, any of you that went through this know that there was a time, I don't know, about a year ago, where texting, like federal regulations for texting changed. One of the systems a lot of reps use completely stopped taking on new clients from Cutco. The other system, everybody had to go through this application process to get registered. Some people are still working on that, but texting was basically shut down for months while everybody was trying to figure that out. So if you only did texting, then everything would come to a grinding halt when something like that came up, right? Do not put all of your eggs in one basket. Email, texting, direct mail, phones, voice drop, social media, whatever. You should be doing as much of it as you can handle or outsource. Also, because like right now, I know a lot of reps are a lot more excited about texting than emails, for example. Just because, texting is a whole other thing. Like, everybody sees a text, I would imagine, unless they accidentally have your number blocked. But just think about how many things are still related to email, like how many things you had to sign up for an account for, right? Whatever that is, and how almost always they're asking for your email to create that account. Until email becomes the thing that is not the denominator that seems to span across all industries, like the way you have everything set up is through your email. Until that changes, email is going to be used. So even if you're thinking texting is working better for right now than email, I don't think I would abandon email. I think you just have to use both, right? And you still get email results. By the way, email marketing is still generating, not just for Cutco, but in the world, email marketing is still generating more digital communication in a way, social media and texting and email and all that stuff. Email marketing is still generating the most sales for the most companies than any other way to do that, from at least the seminars I've been to with people who are experts in that industry. Okay, so one of the reasons I think that the TGP team, which is, I believe, still at this point the top selling team annually in events, right? I think one of the reasons that they get so much past customer business is because they have some pretty big requirements for their team. If you're going to work their state fairs, you have to send mailers to a pretty large radius, by the way, larger than most teams use. And you have to send emails, like you're required to do that, and emails to the whole state that that event is in. And then you have to at least choose one of the other channels. So texting, voice drop calls, whatever you're doing, you have to choose another channel. So 3 channels minimum to even be working those events. And it makes sense because they're trying to build the event. They're trying to make sure everybody's profitable. Like you want past customers in there. There's so many positive reasons to have it in there. So it's amazing. So anyway, just an example to give you. Here are the types of communications. We talked about channels, so how to send them out. Now let's talk about what kinds of communications you'll send out. Usually the types that people are sending out are either sales and promotions or service offers or content or value adds like education, entertaining, whatever the case may be, or event invites. Those are the main ones. Of course, there's other things that happen. Baby announcements, marriage announcements, like referral asks, like there's all sorts of stuff out there, but those are all kind of random things that get sprinkled in. The 4 main ones are event invites, service, sales, and content or value added stuff, which again is education and entertainment. So the reason I bring that up is I said I would talk about this earlier. So here's where we're going to do this. Value and content emails. We've been to multiple seminars outside of Cutco with experts on email marketing, things like that. And what I can tell you is in the industry, they tell you that you want a minimum of a 3-to-1 ratio of value to ask, which means if you're going to ask your customer for something like a sale or promotion, whatever, you buy something, then you want to send out at least 3 value pieces before that. So it'd be value, 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 offer, value, 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 offer. Because if all you ever sent was offers, right? If you're just sending like everybody else in the world, it seems like, where you buy from, like think of everything you've ever bought online and how usually you end up on their emailing list and every email you get is just buy more, buy more, buy more. This is on sale. This is on sale. Look at this product. Look at this product. And that's all you get. Imagine if instead, when you go out and buy a new phone, if every week or once a month you received an email from that phone's manufacturer or retailer, whichever, and every single time it had one tip in it. Hey, by the way, did you know with the newest Apple iPhone update that you can now schedule texts to go out later rather than having to send them right away? Here's how you do it. Do. Love that feature. I'm so glad that it came. But they don't do that. But what if you did? Phones, cars, you bought a car and once a week or once a month you got an email like, hey, by the way, did you know here's how to check this on your car? Here's how to set this up in your car. Here's how to do that. Like that would be amazing. You would know so much more about the products that you buy if they did that. That's all we're doing. We're just sending out an email once a month that says, hey, by the way, here's this product. Here's how it's used. Here's some cool recipes you can try. Here's some fun facts. Here's that. Like we just send them a newsletter with different things in it that they can check out. That's all value. There's no ask in that email. There's no, hey, by the way, buy this thing. It's just sending value. That's how you start to work on that reciprocation effect, right? You send value after value after value. So you're adding a lot of value to their lives. And also, when it comes time, if you're sending those things out and they're interesting enough and they're paying attention and they're liking them, then they're paying attention to your communications so that when you do send something else out, like an event invite or a service offer or a sale, it's more likely at least their eyes will check it out because they're paying attention. If you only ever sent sales and offers, then like everything else you get right now, it just immediately gets trashed usually because they don't even look at it. Like, I don't need Cutco right now. Trash. I don't need Cutco right now. Trash. And they just don't even look. And so they eventually become totally tuned out to anything that you're sending. And then when you want to send out service or you want to send out an event invite, they're probably not even paying attention at that point, right? So you get so much less results. You gotta be sending the value. It can't just be stuff that you want from them. You have to be sending them stuff that's just for them, okay? So that's why usually most reps will do 3 sales a year, sometimes 2, usually 3. Everybody's different, but we even had reps that used to only do 2, thinking 3 was too much, and then they did 3, and they're like, oh, actually 3 is not too much. I'm not cannibalizing on the other 2. I'm actually getting extra sales, right? So most reps are doing value like January, February, March, and then they're doing a spring sale, and then they're doing value. They're doing a summer sale, and they're doing value. They're doing a winter sale, right? It's usually once a campaign, and they're sending value every month so that they're always doing that 3-to-1 at least value to offer ratio, which is really important. So that's what you want to write down, 3-to-1 value to offer ratio. I can tell you there is no problem sending at least one thing a month. There's a lot of reps who send at least one thing a week. That's just because it's a value one week, it's an event invite a week, it's a service offer in a week. It's, there's like different things that go out. So I don't think you have to worry about that as long as you're sending the value. That's what's most important, right? Okay. So 3 times a year, people are doing sales. A few tips about sales since we have sales coming up. One is you want it to be a campaign, meaning multiple emails for the same sale. So you don't just send it once. You're not going to get great results if you just send one email or one text one time and that's it. You want to send a launch email where you launch your sale the day the sale starts, send a reminder email somewhere in the middle, and then send a last chance email toward the end. And the length of the sale will determine how many of those happen. Usually you want it to be like one a week-ish, right? So when people are running like a December sale, which is a lot of reps run the full month of December, they're generally sending out like 3 or 4 or 5. So they'll do launch, reminder 1, reminder 2, reminder 3, last chance, or launch, reminder 1, last chance, extension, whatever it is, but they're sending more. Most reps will get bigger pops on those reminders and last chance emails than they even get on the first one. So, and I think that's just procrastination and busyness, right? People sitting like, oh, cool, I need to check that out. And then they see the second one, they're like, oh, I really got to do that. By the last chance, I'm like, oh, I don't have time left. I better do it now, right? And so they just finally pull the trigger. There's a lot of people we call. I listen to Josh make calls. So there's a lot of people Josh calls where he goes, he gets a hold of them and they're like, oh my gosh, I've been meaning to call you. I'm so glad you called, right? Because they actually never did get around to it, but they were actually interested in buying something. Crazy. Anyway, so 3 times a year sales, campaign of emails, right? And texting, it doesn't have to be as much. Usually even if we're running like 4 emails on a campaign, we're usually doing 2 texts. So it's like launch email, reminder email, last chance. And then somewhere in there, and not on the exact same day as the emails, a launch text and a reminder or last chance text. It's usually just a couple of texts, so you're not overwhelming them. And by the way, we also, keeping that content value add in mind, we also send content through text and gratitude through text so that they're not only getting offers for sales and stuff through text too, because again, you don't want them tuning out to the texts. Okay, so something else just to mention is, I believe, and you can check with her, I believe Stacy Barton said that ever since she got on the program of how we run the sale campaigns and the content and all that stuff, she is at the point where she's selling like $100,000 a year now just on those 3 sales that she does each year, which she's excited about. So that's pretty cool. Okay. In each email, let's talk about that. What should go in each email? Here's what we believe should go in every single email that you do, no matter what kind of email you're sending, event, invite, sale, whatever. One is appreciation. We always write some form of appreciation in that email. Appreciation for their past support, appreciation for checking out the email, whatever it is. Just appreciate them for something. The purpose of the email. So tell them why you're sending them that email that day. We try to make it, so that's number 2 is purpose. Number 3 is personalize or smile, right? So put something in there that's personal to you, or like an update on you, an image of you and on a trip or with family or whatever it is. And then also, or something that would make them smile, right? So you want it to feel human and personal because everything's so technological these days, right? You want them to know they're connecting with another human being and that you are connecting with them as another human being. They're not just a number on your list, whatever. So you want it to feel personal. That's a huge thing. And by the way, one of the ways to do that is to be careful of how you speak in the email. Because you want it to sound like you're talking to one person. So I see reps a lot of times will write things like, thanks to all of you who did this, but then that's when they're reading it, it sounds like you're speaking to a group. Thanks to all of you who did this. So instead it's more like, hey, thanks so much. You and my other clients, blank or whatever, but you want it to sound like you're talking to them, right? Personal. And then every email also needs to have a call to action. So appreciation, purpose, personal, call to action. Call to action is where you're going to tell them exactly what you want them to do, which there's really not a call to action in value other than check out this recipe or look at this. But in the other emails, like click here to sign up for your service appointment, or come to the event and stop by the booth and put your name in the drawing, whatever it is, you want to have a call to action in there. Here's some other quick tips on marketing in general. 1, replies and clicks are good because the email service providers see that that's happening. They see your client responding or clicking on your stuff. It logs that there's actual interaction, less spammy, right? It's not like they're receiving spam they didn't ask for. And so it increases your sender reputation, which means anything else you send out in the future is more likely to be delivered without scrutiny, that kind of stuff. So you want interaction. So every once in a while, if you could put something in your email, even just some random, Like, what's your birthday, or share your favorite, whatever. There was a time we asked, like, just reply with your favorite, jarred food, and we'll put you in a drawing or whatever. So we were getting like pickles, 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 pickles. I was like, people love pickles. Anyway, so just stuff like that to get at the interaction, right? That's the intention. Also, keep track of data in your CRM so that customers actually feel heard. And so it speeds up your process, because, and it also can provide extra value to clients. So like if you ask a client about stuff, like, what do you think you're interested in next? Cookware, flatware, accessories, whatever. And they give you an answer and you don't make a note of that. And then the next time you see them, you ask them that same question. Believe me when I tell you, they're going to notice, and they're going to eventually be like, I don't know if he actually listens to me, right? So you make those notes so that you're not asking the people the same question every time. And you put it in your CRM and you review your CRM when you're going to talk to those people. Okay. So it's really important that they actually feel heard. I've been through this as a customer where the same provider calls me and asks me the same question over and over. And I'm like, I've already given you this answer. Why aren't you making a note somewhere so you can stop asking me the same question? I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel very valued at all. Okay. So I think if you want to be at the highest level, you're keeping notes, you're reviewing the notes, you're picking up conversations right where you left off rather than making people repeat themselves, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is it can provide value because like Josh will keep track of everything they buy for every person. So when they call him and say, I'm buying gifts, he's like, cool, let me get the names of who you're buying for, what you're giving to each person. He keeps track of all that because inevitably the next year when they call back and go, I'm going to buy gifts again, they generally forget what they got each person. And he can go, here's what we did already for these people over the years, and then help make suggestions for the next thing. And they love it that he keeps track of it so they don't have to, right? So you can do things like that too, and be another value add. Another tip is marketing is not a solution to other deficiencies. So like if you're really bad at following up with people, if you're not nice to people when you talk to them, no matter how much marketing you do, it's not going to solve that problem. Okay. So marketing is an addition to great customer service already. So again, we mentioned great customer service before, but you want to make sure you have that. Next thing is you have to do something with the replies, right? Reply back is ideal. We try to make sure that we're always the last people to reply. So even if they reply back saying, thank you, we reply back saying, you're welcome, or my pleasure, or whatever. We don't just leave it at that. But you want to be good with replies, and you want to reply back quickly so people know that you're actually taking care of them. Don't let something go for weeks before you actually reply to someone they reach out to you. The next thing is planning it ahead of schedule is way better, right? It's more strategic. It tends to get better results. So rather than having your marketing always be last minute, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Let's send out an email tomorrow. What should it say? What should we do? Call back to action, see if they can do it. That happens a lot of last minute requests. But even though I suppose last minute marketing is better than no marketing, strategic and planned ahead of time marketing is always way better. It just tends to fit into your schedule better. You can plan around it better. You can think about what really needs to be in it better versus just being like, yeah, just whatever, send whatever, right? It just gets better results. The next thing is there is no perfect time to do anything. Okay. So if you're like, when should I send it? You should send it when it makes sense in your calendar to do the follow-up. Just know that any marketing you send out is going to generate activity in some way, right? They're either going to call you back, email you back, text you back, whatever it is. And you have to have the time to do that follow-up. So like if we set a text to go out for Josh, then he usually has his day booked out like the next day or next 2 days, like hours in those days where he knows all he's going to be doing is replying to texts that come in, right? Because that has to happen. So the perfect time to do anything is when it fits best in your schedule to be able to handle the follow-up, okay? The next thing is your message is always way more important than the way it looks, right? So what you write, what they read, the message they're getting from you, that's the most important thing. If you have cool images in there, cool images can add, right? Can add flavor and coolness or whatever, but the image is not what's going to get you the result, right? The message is what's going to get you the result. So that's why I mentioned earlier, like making it personal is really helpful. Speaking to them as a person, not as a group, that kind of stuff. But just know that the message is what's really important. So you want the writing in the email to be good and not to be too corporate. If it looks too corporate or sounds too corporate and not very personal, then it's not going to create that relationship with you as a person. It'll probably impact their thoughts on Cutco as a product and that corporation, and that's good. That's a positive effect. But if you want them to be tied into you, it has to be more personal than what a corporate email would look like. When Apple and Tesla and all those guys send out emails, they're not coming from a rep at Apple or Tesla. They're not trying to build a relationship with you as a person who represents that product. It is the corporation who's sending that email, who just wants you to be brand loyal. They're not asking for loyalty to a rep of theirs, right? That's the difference. You are a rep of Cutco. You can help them be brand loyal to Cutco, but that doesn't serve you as much as helping them be brand loyal to Cutco and loyal to you as a person, right? So that's why the message is so important. Now, last thing, let me just tell you a little bit about Fast Action. Before past customer business was a common occurrence in Cutco, when the average past customer, by the way, placed one order. For decades, the average customer placed one order. And Josh and I started playing with it and figuring out some things that were, bringing in results. His customer base has really been a trial and error customer base for a very long time. But figuring out what works and what doesn't work, all that kind of stuff. And then learning from the best email marketers in the nation and that kind of stuff, in other industries. That's when we started getting the results, and that's when we started teaching it. So this is back in like 2010, I don't know, long time ago. We started teaching it at conferences, and it's great, but the reps generally would come up to us and say, that's great, I love it, I want to do that, but I actually don't want to do it. I'd rather you just do it for me. But we weren't doing that. We were just running Josh's business and trying to share what was working and that kind of stuff. So for a couple of years, we just kept getting people asking, just do it for me, just do it for me. We kept saying no. But then I was also watching people struggle trying to do it for themselves and just not doing it very well. So that's when we were like, I guess we should just do this. People clearly need the help. It's funny to me now, because I think if you're a rep coming into the business now, you probably don't even know that the marketing and past customer stuff was not the way it always was. You might think that's just how it's always been. But the reps who are getting all the past customer sales are getting now, like the numbers we talked about earlier, that didn't used to happen like that. Like, sure, you'd get a sprinkling of past customer business because they just reach out to you and they're like, I need a gift, or like something, I want to add on a piece. But it wasn't the same as like the hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales they're getting now. So it does make a big difference. And that's why when we started Fast Action, that was back in 2013, when we were like, all right, let's experiment. We'll take on a handful of people. We'll see how this goes, see if it helps. And then from there, it was just word of mouth, right? My friend told me you're doing this for them, you can do it for me too. And it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing to where we are now, right? And so they got results, they started spreading the word. Now it's common practice. And so I just want you to know that it's not how it's always been. And what we do at Fast Action has added a lot to the business. I mean, I could show you hundreds of testimonials that say things like, I wouldn't have won the silver cup without your help, which I don't want to take that credit, by the way. But people say it. I'm just letting you know, people say it to us, right? They're like, you've helped me transform my business or whatever it is. I get that kind of stuff all the time, which is awesome. But I just want you to know, you can do it yourself. I'm not here to tell you that you have to use Fast Action. I mean, you should be in Fast Action CRM. I don't know why anybody wouldn't be. It's the only CRM that gets data feeds from Cutco Corporate, since we're strategic partners with Cutco now, since we started doing that. So not just now, but it's a great CRM. It's developed for Cutco reps, and we have the highest level of support of any CRM out there. You're not going to be able to call, text, email someone else at a different CRM and get one-on-one help for free on how to use your CRM. That just doesn't exist. Most CRMs that are actually really hard to use, they charge exorbitant amounts of money to get support, or there's actual companies whose whole business is, as an independent business, is teaching people how to use that system or doing it for them, right? Separate of the CRM itself. Crazy. Anyway, so we provide lots of support. So you should definitely be in Fast Action CRM, no matter what. That I think would help anybody's business, just to help organize it, do follow-up tasks. You can send emails, like all that stuff, take all the notes, but you can do it yourself. You can do these things yourself using the tips that I provided today, right? And you can learn even more as we keep going, but not today, but future marketing videos. But if you want to outsource it, if you don't want to do it yourself, then that's where it'd be worth checking out Fast Action and what we do and how it might be able to help you out too. And we price them so much lower. You'll never find a deliverable with the same quality and attention and intention as Fast Action's marketing anywhere else for the same price. I guarantee it. And I know, and I'm not saying that to be mean to the competitors I'm aware of that are out there. I've seen everybody's emails that come from all the different competitors and everything else. And I'm telling you that what we deliver at the price we deliver it at, it's just different. It's different than what other people offer. So, you can totally do it yourself. If you're not going to do it yourself, consider getting it done another way though, because that'd be really helpful. Based on average percentages of how many people respond to things and conversion rates and all that kind of stuff, less than a 200 person list size, you might want to do it yourself just from a profitability standpoint. If you're not as concerned with that, then, you could still reach out and we could talk, but we try not to get people in so early that we feel like they're kind of, I wouldn't call it throwing money away, because you're still generating like the loyalty and the consistent expectations of customers of what you're doing and stuff. But just from a financial standpoint, it's probably worth handling it yourself if you can for a while until you're ready to outsource that. If you don't have a CRM, definitely check into it. The single biggest complaint I've actually heard over the years from reps who've gotten on the Vast Action programs and gotten results is that, like, the most common thing I hear is, I wish I had started it sooner. That's really the biggest complaint we get. I wish I had started it sooner. Because again, the thing we hear most often is, oh my gosh, it has totally transformed my business. I do think it's worth doing the marketing stuff, and not just for like a key event. Do it consistently all year long for multiple events, multiple service offers, send all kinds of value, all of that stuff, right? Send thank you emails, whatever you want to do, but just be communicating with people. Let them know you're going to do that. Quality marketing, speak to them as a person, treat them like a human. There's so much I could cover. I'm going to stop there for now, but thank you for your attention. And of course, reach out if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions, and hopefully have a great rest of your day.